Hello, I've got for you today the first release for 2025. This is a special edition of the Meisterstuck Doue, released specifically for Singapore's 60 years anniversary. So this is based on the geometry collection, but it is adorned with Singapore-specific motifs and colors. The Singapore flag is red and yellow with star and crescent moon. So other than the Singapore specific packaging, there is nothing else unique in the box. It just comes with standard service guide, and there you go. So it is a special edition, but it is a special edition limited to 500. So they've done something here that is, I guess, a way of cost saving. The numbers are not inscribed on the pen. I first encountered this with Wes Anderson that they announced last year. That's also a limited edition pen, but each limited edition pen has a 0 of or a 1 of whatever the limited edition number is inscribed on it. But here on the nib, let's see if we can get that, and I hope we can get that. The nib has inscribed on it 1 of 500. So the nib does all the heavy lifting when it comes to the notation of its limited quantity. So they're only releasing 500 of these. I don't know how likely you are to be able to get something like this outside of Singapore, and I'm always on the hunt for region-specific releases. So whenever I travel, I ask if there's anything that is specific to the country. I've only ever encountered previously one for the Gulf states, with a lot of Islamic motif and a lot of, well, basically green. So when it comes to this pen, Singapore specific, the elements that are unique, other than the red, I think the underlay of the red, I love this underlay, works really well with the red. This is sort of the standard underlay they've got with the geometry collection. So Singapore specific content. On the section, they've got where does it start? They've got a silhouette of the skyline. Singapore is known for a few different landmarks, specifically what they call the Marina Bay Sands, which is sort of these 3 large hotels, well, it's one hotel, 3 large buildings connected at the top with something that looks like a boat. And at that roof level, there's a pool, a beautiful pool that you can see all the city from. There's also a large Ferris wheel, Singapore Flyer, and a few other, oh yes, they've got a few gardens. So these 2 humps here are basically the biggest greenhouses I've ever seen. I'm pretty sure there are probably larger ones elsewhere, but they're quite large, quite massive. And a few other things that oh yeah, there's their art gallery, I think. It's a very strange shape, sort of like a hand with 5 pointing up sections. I think that's an art gallery, and then there you go, the skyline. So that's the Singapore specific motif on the section. I was hoping there'd be something on the cone. There isn't anything on the cone. And then on the nib, there is an engraving of an orchid. So this looks like a standard Phalaenopsis orchid, but it's supposed to be one specifically bred by a renowned botanist here in Singapore. I think it's called Miss Joachim, something like that. So I'm a bit disappointed that the pen doesn't come with more details about this type of motif. The promotional material, they circulated with it, does have that type of detail. but it's a bit harder to pull that out nicely and keep it with the pen. Come on, there. So the other thing that makes this nib unique is that there is a absolutely minuscule grain of sand ruby there where the breather hole usually is. I really would love to get this to get you a better view of that, but there we go. I think they've got a few other Doues released with gems like this, including the Petit Prince from a few years ago. It only comes in fine, so the nib only comes in fine. That's, I think, another way that they're keeping the cost down for a limited run, so they don't have to have this available in other sizes. I think that's a pretty reasonable thing to do when it comes to cutting costs. The nib exchange program, I think, is nice, but a bit expensive for them to run. And it's not great to pay for other people's nibs, because that price is rolled into the cost of the pen. So this cap is sort of the standard Douai cap, 145 size, but to differentiate it from the standard caps, the finial surround up here above the pen clip is adorned with the date of Singapore's foundation, the 9th of August 1965, and then with a scroll work depicting, I think those are also orchids. Yeah, those are also orchids. Looks laser etched. So another beautiful touch for making this a unique pen, but of course an element like that's easy to machine separately. A lot of recycled parts, I guess. Yeah, like I said, I'd hope the cap had more adornments, but simple platinum cap. Of course, because it is based on the 145, it is only a cartridge converter pen, and I'm pretty sure they come as standard with the Montblanc standard. Come on, standard cartridge. Have they changed this? Nope, it's still threaded. So this is their new cartridge. How's it compared to their old one? Their old one, is it the same size? Yeah, same size. Just I guess different trim there. They've got a platinum trim rather than a gold trim for this edition. So there you have it. A very interesting and unexpected for me release that they've put together specifically for Singapore's 60-year anniversary in 2025. Beautiful little pen. I'm quite glad I was able to pick it up. 500 apparently made, and I've got 2 for my daughters, 1 for my eldest, 1 for my youngest, and we'll see how much they appreciate something like this. They're too young at the moment, but over time. Actually, there's one more thing I'd like to do while I've got this all here. So this is the second pen that I've got. I'm curious to know how much variation there is in the 2 pens, at least in the nib. So one thing I've noticed with duplicate pens that I've gotten, specifically the Flex calligraphy nib, there is a tiny bit of difference in the nibs, and so we'll see here if there's anything we can detect in terms of a difference in the nibs. Everything else is pretty standard. There we go, 2 nibs. Both seem like the tines are similar. Or am I wrong? The one on the right feels like the tine on the left protrudes a little bit, and the one on the left feels like it's more symmetrical. Is that indeed the case? Or is that the angle of the... Maybe that's just the angle of the shot. There you go. A quick look at a limited release, special edition. Of course, both have 1 of 500 on the nibs. Nibs are the same. Released specifically for Singapore's 60-year anniversary. Thank you for watching. Let me know if you've got questions.